A day's journeying from Daventry has found you by the shores of Colima. Your ship, the Grand Thethor, and its crew have deposited you and will return the day after tomorrow. Hopefully, this will give you enough time to locate and release the imprisoned woman you saw in the magic mirror. Your vessel has safely transported you from your homeland of Daventry, finally depositing you on this pier in the land of Colima. As you watch the flagship of your fleet depart with pride, you also sense anxiety building within you. Once it is gone, you will be quite alone in this country. A net has been caught around one of the pier's pylons. You need to swim. You untangle the net from the pylon and take it with you. Don't throw that into the sea. Rocks litter the area. It's a good thing you were not standing around here when they fell. A picket fence extends onto the beach a short way. The sand from the beach glitters. The azure water of the ocean laps up to its edge. You get a feeling for the area. The fallen picket feels reasonably sturdy and is pointed at one end. Believing that you may find a use for it, you retrieve it and carry it with you. A stab in the dark, a stab in the light, same effect. You had better note that in your log. You note a year on, and you still look pretty darn good. You see a little girl wandering around the meadow. She wears a ruby red cloak and appears to be searching for something. It feels
My name is Graham. What is yours?
Possum. That is what my grandma calls me. She is not at all well these days. I was collecting flowers for her, but now I cannot anymore.
Why is that?
My basket is missing. I've looked everywhere for it. It must be around here somewhere.
I will keep my eye out for it.
Thank you, Graham.
I was wondering, could you tell me anything about this land?
You mean Colima? There is a town to the northeast, and a church not far south of that. Grandma and I live in a house near the beach. You should not enter the swamp to the north. It is said to be influenced by magic. Many have easily lost their way in there, and finding your way out again is difficult.
Thank you, Possum. Is there any way at all through this swamp?
I do not know, but I did see someone walking out of there not long ago. He was writing something in a book as he walked.
Who was that?
A monk from the church.
You mentioned that your grandma is not well. What ails her?
I'm not sure, but I think it gives her sad dreams. While she sleeps, sometimes she talks out loud. Sometimes I listen to her. "No, do not leave me," she says. At first, I thought she was speaking to me. I would go over to her, but she would not notice me. Then I realized it was a dream. I think she misses the person she talks to in her sleep. And then there's the scary dreams.
Repressing the urge.
You mentioned that your grandma had scary dreams. What are these dreams about?
Bats.
Bats?
Yes, in her sleep, she screams with fright, as if a bat is chasing her, or she's being hurt by one. Then she'll say something like, "Blue light is the bat's true bane," over and over.
Blue light? What does she mean?
I have asked her this, but she just shakes her head the moment I speak of it.
Thank you, Possum. I wish your grandma a swift recovery.
Thank you, Gram. I will speak of you to her.
Repressing the urge. You have nothing. You have nothing. Repress. This is a pleasant meadow. A serene lake soothingly covers most of this area. To the west, you can see the beach. To the east lies Weirwood Forest. A very unattractive baby bird paddles around in the small pond. It looks like a duck. As it is unusual for a young animal to be apart from its mother, you assume the baby has either become separated from her or she has perished. It is a baby bird, and not a terribly pretty one at that. Don't throw, don't, don't, don't throw that. Don't throw that into the lake. Don't, you are not into those tie-up games. Don't throw, the best place to attempt that would be from the lower bank. Don't you walk into position and try to catch the baby bird. You throw the net over the pond, and the baby bird is caught unharmed. A large lemon tree grows by the path. Some lemons have fallen from the tree. Several smaller lemon trees grow near the path. Their fruit has not yet ripened. You reach out and pluck a large, juicy-looking lemon from the tree. You can't. The sign reads, Town. One of the trees here seems to be growing around some rocks. The large mound of rocks here has failed to prevent this majestic tree from thriving to a grand old age. There is a sizable hole in one of the trees. When you peer into the hole of the pine tree, you see a mallet lying there. You pick it up and take it with you. The sign reads, Kalima. This stylized symbol, positioned above the entrance, represents the township of Kalima. It is likely that this haystack was piled here by farmers from the town. A faded blue sheet has been tightly stretched across it to prevent the straw from blowing away in the wind.
Hey!
What? Who said that?
I did.
Huh?
I'm down here, in the hay.
Oh. Well, who are you?
My name is,
Yes?
I can't seem to remember.
Well then, what are you?
Oh, I'm
Yes?
Can't seem to remember that either.
Well, what are you doing in this haystack?
That's easy. I was looking for...
You can't remember.
No. Sorry.
How long have you been in there?
Let's see. It couldn't be longer than...
Yes?
3, maybe 4 weeks?
Weeks?
Yep.
Pardon me for saying, but you sound as if you have a bit of a cold.
Yes. It's all this hay. It's giving me hay fever.
You see a man bending over the fountain. He appears to be trying to retrieve something from it.
Aha! Got him.
A tall statue of a man stands prominently at the entrance of town. It looks to have been placed here quite a number of years ago. The statue bears a plaque which reads, Count Kaldor, ruler and protector of Kalima. The sign reads, Kalima Library. This horse must have skipped breakfast. The merchant has a distinct out-of-town appearance and a get-out-of-town aroma. The sign atop the store simply says, A. Repressing the urge to burst into song, you choose instead to quietly admire the area. Repressing
Greetings, merchant.
To you, good day. Shh! A visitor arrived new, no? A sense I possess for these things. Need you have for my wares of great specialty?
Perhaps, but first, I'm curious. Where did you come by such a pumpkin?
Eyes quite keen, have you? Indeed, a specimen unique it is.
Be quiet.
The gift of speech among plants so rare, yes?
Quite so. Are you planning to sell it?
Sell? Never would I sell such a thing as this.
It'll make me incredibly rich.
I mean, entrusted it was to my care. Watch over it, I must.
Mama, take me back to my
forget it. I'm not taking you back to that patch. So pipe down.
Pardon?
Ah, of importance I speak not. Trouble to your ears I meant none.
Repressing the The door is plain and has a mail slot. It also has a sign posted on it. You read it. You also notice something sticking out from under the door. You might not attend church as religiously as your title requires, but that hardly means you are unholy. A stab in the dark. Making sure that no one is watching, you slide the wooden picket under the door and draw out what appears to be a letter. It is a letter. This item cannot be used. There's no need to use that. You can't. You open the letter and read it. Dear applicant, please find enclosed the library membership card to which you are now entitled. The 5-year application process has concluded, and we are pleased to inform you that your status as a member of the town library is confirmed. Welcome to an exclusive group of patrons. Yours sincerely, Town Librarian. P.S. Please sign your name on the card to ensure validation. It is not. Hey, control yourself. You might have children someday, and they won't benefit from a father with embarrassing habits. You see some odd-looking boxes stacked neatly on top of the filing cabinet. They have titles written on the side, such as Freddie Farkas, Frontier Pharmacist. Piles upon. You glance at the titles on this shelf. Chronicles of the Brady Bunch. Interesting, this book has a warning label. Prolonged exposure may cause irreparable damage to your perception of reality. You glance at the titles on this shelf. Remember the Triton, an autobiography from the ruler of the Mer people. You glance at the titles on this shelf. Revealing the truth about seeing unicorns, and something about oneself in the process. Future's History, the true story of Space Quest 12. Gullible's Travels. A guide to bush ranging, safety tips on robbery while wearing a metal box on your head. The Theory of Relativity, and other half-baked crackpot ideas. Icebergs and unsinkable ships. The Legends of Weirwood Forest. Trolls and Bridges, an obsession explained. Guidebook to the Land of Tamir. A Tale of the Flannelled One. Apparently, this book is about the author of a 6-part space opera. Livin' La Vida Loca. How not to turn a novel into a film. See Dune. Curses and counter-curses, and how not to get them confused. 101 things to do when you are lonely. You are not even going to touch this one. Let's get physical. With what, you wonder? Modern Inventions Monthly. This month's edition focuses on an essay entitled Reinventing the Wheel. Shrimps and barbecues, an inexplicable connection. Carnivorous plants. When and what to feed them without arousing suspicion. It is written by a man named Seymour Krelborn. Cooking tips for singles. While you are single and you can't cook, you still have no need of this book. At least, not with the entire kitchen staff at your disposal back home. Even rotten tomatoes deserve a little respect. Remember the Triton. A Traveler's Guide to Ludor. You skim through the book. It describes a small town which serves as a port of call for passing ships. Apparently, it is under the jurisdiction of a wizard who is not at all popular with the locals. Selling your wares without selling yourself. The art of being a lowly merchant and feeling proud of it. Mildly curious, you open the book. The first chapter is entitled, The Truth of Falsity. It begins to describe how to make a totally worthless item seem like a must-have for the gullible buyer. A later chapter entitled, The Serious Business of Talking Funny, details how to adopt a foreign accent and use fragmented grammar to convince the same gullible buyer that you are not just some ordinary con artist trying to make a quick gold. Euspheria, the many that became one. This book tells of how, over time, the realm of Euspheria ceased to be a multitude of feuding regions and became a united kingdom. Once unable to defend itself, even as a whole, it now has a large standing army. The present lord of the realm is said to be kind, generous, and wise. The art of becoming a portcullis to portcullis salesman. Melodies for minstrels. Ooga Booga Land and other undesirable travel destinations. The Carpenter's Handbook. The Big Book of British Smiles. Chronicles of the Interesting. Arrival of the Ancients. Were their origins of this world. That seems like a silly title. Where else would they have come from? The stars? Chronicling the Longest Journey, or How to Sustain a Compelling Story When Your Lead Character Sounds Like an Airhead. Magic for the Layman. All you need is a good book. Dragon Slaying for Dummies. Dwarves are from Mars, elves are from Venus. The Taming of the Shrew. Jousting and other party games. The Beginner's Guide to Buying Your First Horse. Drunks and Monks, How to Tell Them Apart. Quest for Glory, A Hero's Death. 10 Easy Steps to Owning Your Own Castle. Revealing the Truth About Futures. Iceberg. A rather plump and stern-looking woman is seated behind the desk. Every so often, she glances away and appears to lose her train of thought. The monotony of being a librarian must be getting to her.
May I help you?
Yes, I was hoping to enrich my knowledge of this fair land by way of perusing your historical texts.
My, that was well put.
No.
Not terribly effective, though.
Pardon me, perhaps I was not clear?
You were.
Then may I?
No.
Why can't I?
You are not a member.
Well then, can I become a member?
No.
Why can I not become a member?
We already have far too many members. It's difficult to keep track of everything.
How many members are there?
2.
If I may inquire, who are your 2 members?
You may not. Neither the Count of Kalima nor the elderly gentleman who lives next door would approve of my divulging that information to you.
Ah, thank you anyway. You mentioned the Count of Kalima is a member of this library.
Yes.
Have you seen him recently?
The librarian looks at you strangely.
No.
Is there any way I might meet the Count?
Yes.
How?
Die.
I would have to die to meet the Count?
Depends.
On what?
Your importance.
And if I am important?
Then you might be fortunate enough to be buried on his estate.
Who is buried on the Count's estate?
Counts.
Aha, past Counts, of course. Anyone else? Who?
Him.
Pardon? Do you mean the Count is dead?
The librarian decides to avoid your gaze and seems disinclined to speak further with you on the subject. The librarian
Will you accept this?
No,
Why not?
it has not been signed.
It is not meant to be inserted into... It is... You're kidding. You're kidding. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Will you accept this?
No,
Why not?
it has not been signed.
You quickly grab the quill while the librarian isn't looking and sign your name on the blank library card. You replace the quill before the librarian notices it missing.
Will you accept this?
Yes, you are younger than I expected.
I eat well and get a lot of exercise.
I see.
So, what do I do now?
Borrow.
You mean I can take books from this library?
No,
Oh,
There's no reason.
yes,
could you recommend a good book?
The librarian has placed the book on the desk for you to read. Thoughtful, isn't she? This book is entitled Kalima, Perfect One Day, Better the Next. Browsing through it, you notice an interesting excerpt. This room